TKL. Then on to our next fight, we have in light heavyweight division, Paul Craig versus Jim Crute, or Crute, it's Crute, Jim the Brute Crute. So Paul Craig versus Jim Crute. So looking at Jim Crute, he's he's physical, got some power, but technically he's not that great. But he's definitely, when he got that physicality and that power, it's not that like, it's not no Rumble Johnson power, it's not no knockout, but he got that physical power and he definitely still can knock you out. But it's not like, oh, this guy's a knockout artist. He's not. But he's a pretty a physical specimen in ways. Not to that, but just like he's physical. That's what me say. That he got some physicality to him, and that's about it. He's pretty solid. Got some solid wins, undefeated 8-0. But I think Paul Craig, it's just a big step up in competition, coming off a big win over a solid prospect in the UFC division. Managed to pull out like a last second victory, but and I think about Paul Craig is very savvy on the ground. Striking, he has a lot of holes in his striking, but on the ground he's a monster on the ground. He has very savvy, very slick. But I think he'll at least be able to hold up with Jim Crute on the feet. But I think he'll have the veteran experience. Then in the grappling exchange, I think Paul Craig just very sneaky, very crafty, and can have his way with Jim Crute in the grappling. I think Jim Crute's best, approach to win is maybe just to knock him out. But I think Paul Craig's gonna be savvy to that and be able to hold his own there as well. And definitely coming off very confident coming into this fight. I think he'll be able to pull this one out. I think he'll be able to fight a very composed fight, but confident, pick his punches, pick his strikes, have a smart game plan, go out there, hold his own on the feet, and maybe fixing what's called kind of mixing his striking and then set up some grappling exchange. That's what he's gonna do, mixing his striking and set up some grappling exchange, and to be able to just probably get a late submission. It's gonna be like a technical breakdown, I feel, from Paul Craig. So in this fight, I got Paul Craig via third round submission. Then on to our next fight. I believe this is the main card. Maybe the Paul Craig fight is the first fight on the main card. But I believe this Jake Matthews versus Tony Martin is for sure on the main card. So I'm going to start saying this is the main card now. And so in the welterweight division, our first fight on the main card, we have in the welterweight division, Jake Matthews versus Tony Martin. So Tony Martin's been looking very impressive in the welterweight division. And Jake Matthews hasn't been looking half bad himself. So Tony Martin, they both were lightweights. I think Jake Matthews was a more standout lightweight in less time than Tony Martin. Tony Martin has some pretty good striking. His grappling's coming along, are looking pretty well at the welterweight division. But I think Jake Matthews is going to really negate a lot of the advantage that Tony Martin's been having at the welterweight division. Because Jake Matthews is like, Tony Martin is a lightweight who recently came up to the welterweight division. He's going to have still have that speed. He's going to be those quick reactions and those transitions. He's going to be aggressive with Tony Martin. He's not going to be one of those people kind of laid back or wary of anything Jake Matthews. He's going to bring the fight to Tony Martin. So Jake Matthews is going to bring the fight to Tony Martin. He's not going to be afraid to strike with him, not going to be afraid to initiate grappling exchange with Tony Martin. And I think he's just going to, and I just think Jake Matthews is going to be able to put on a Jake Matthews type of performance. He might not be the most savvy striker, might not be the most impressive grappler, might not be the smoothest, but he can put the pace on you, who gets in your face, he makes it aggressive, he makes it a fight, and he breaks you down. And then when he starts to break you down, he gets real smooth, starts transitioning well, his wrestling starts looking solid, his striking starts looking better. I think he's just going to be, it's going to be like a Jake Matthews type of performance. It's going to remind Tony Martin of his lightweight days. He's going to put the pace going to be too high, the intensity going to be too high, and I think Jake Matthews is going to kind of break Tony Martin down. It's not going to be a finish, but I think it's going to be like a decision. It's going to be gritty, but Jake Matthews is going to break Tony Martin with his pace. So in this fight, I got Jake Matthews via decision. Then on to our next fight, we have in the light heavyweight division, Tyson Pedro versus Mauricio Rua, or should I say Shogun Rua. Legend of the sport, needs no introduction, but he is a legend of the sport, one of my favorite fighters of all time, but his days are really past him. He still can keep around, he's still a solid fighter, but he's just not championship level. And it's not coming back, I don't think it's ever coming back, at least not in the UFC. Maybe Bellator, maybe he might. Maybe Bellator, maybe Titan FC, maybe one of those leagues, but UFC, not really champion caliber anymore. So Tyson Pedro, one of the better prospects in the light heavyweight division, solid in grappling, solid in striking. Just kind of keep piecing the skills together, keep gaining that experience. He's going to have a huge height advantage, huge youth advantage, huge physical advantage. I think he'll have advantages everywhere. I think Shogun is really going to be relying on maybe some veteran tricks, maybe landing a big shot, a big kick, something like that. Or just some luck or something in this fight he's going to be kind of banking on. But I think Tyson Pedro is going to be able to use his jab, use his distance, use his kicks, teep kicks, head kicks, and all that stuff to keep Shogun out of range. Then if he wants to get in range, he could probably kind of maul, like not maul, but kind of take advantage of Shogun in the grappling as well, just like in the clinch and throwing him around on the ground and stuff. I think Shogun is kind of not really there in the physical features anymore. Like he's getting older, his body's breaking down. I think Tyson Pedro's going to be able to have his way with him. That's really just the whole fighting that basically Tyson Pedro's going to be able to have his way with Shogun. Shogun's going to be relying on something lucky or some Hail Mary type stuff. And Tyson Pedro's going to stay composed and just pick him apart and probably stop him in the second round. It's not going to be a first round stoppage, but it's going to be like a second round stoppage. He's going to fill him out, kind of break him down in the first, then finish him up in the second in a pretty clean type of fashion. Not much back and forth, just one-way traffic almost. So in this fight, I got Tyson Pedro via second round TKO. Now on to our co-main event, we have in the heavyweight division, Mark Hunt versus Justin Willis. So looking at Justin Willis, young prospect, coming in the heavyweight division, coming out of AKA, looking solid. He has good movement, good striking, good power, but still needs that, veteran experience, needs to improve that IQ, maybe conserve his cardio a little bit better, maybe pick his shots more instead of just hunting kills and stuff and like then gassing himself out like he did in that last fight against Chase Sherman, who's a much lower tier heavyweight. Like, saw him kind of, I think maybe even give up around. Like, or he saw his pace drop after almost finishing Sherman in the first round, and saw like him actually making a close fight just because he gassed himself almost or burned himself out in the first round. Just had to rely on the first round, the second round, or whatever cases. He really had to just kind of just drag that fight out after he couldn't get to finish it. Like, his pace dropped significantly. But that's besides the point. I think against Mark Hunt, I think Mark Hunt's still the better striker. Even at this age, he still can do what he does. He might be short, might be chubby, but he's always been short and chubby. He might be older now, but he still can find his chin, still got that power. I don't think Justin Willis is grappling is that good, or he's going to implement it too much. I think he's going to have that ego and try to strike with Mark Hunt. And I don't really think his defense is all that well either. His defense, mostly his footwork, his head movement is not that impressive. So I think Mark Hunt be able to chop his legs down, come in with these hooks, come in with these overhands, and pretty much be able to tag him. I think Mark Hunt could take a better shot than Justin Willis can. And I don't think Justin Willis, he might have a pretty good movement, but his arsenal is not that unpredictable about him. So I think Mark Hunt will be able to figure him out. I don't think it's going to be a first round knockout, but I think it's going to be like a figure out type of thing. He might drop him in the first, but I think he's going to probably stop him early in the second. So this fight, I got Mark Hunt via second round TKO, and I got him TKO and Justin Willis early. So again, Mark Hunt via second round TKO. Now on to our main event, we have in the heavyweight division, Junior Dos Santos versus Tuivasa. So Tuivasa is getting a lot of hype right now, but looking at his wins, nothing too impressive. He came in and beat whatever that guy name is. Basically, guy everybody was like 0-3 in the heavyweight division. He was chopped his leg out and flying kneed him and stuff. Let me just check that guy's name real quick so I could be sure. What's that guy's name? Let me see. What's his name? But yeah, Rashad Coulter. Now I got it. I just had to Google it real quick. That guy's name, I forgot it just for this past card. But yeah, Rashad Coulter. He came in, kicked his leg out. Rashad Coulter has weak legs. He basically kicked Rashad Coulter's leg until he could barely stand. He flying knee a guy who's already barely able to stand up. Impressive, look nice, but not too much to write home about. Then he beat up Cyril Asker, who hasn't beat up Cyril Asker. Then he beat Andre Arlovski in a very close fight that actually Andre Arlovski won a round in. But again, besides the point, now Junior Santos looking, I'm not gonna say looking solid, but he's looking good enough, and people write him off like he's done. But who has he lost to? He lost to Stipe, he lost to Kane, and he lost to Overeem. All solid names. Maybe you could kind of say Overeem is the weakest name of the people he lost to and shouldn't have lost to. But still, Overeem is a much proven heavyweight and one of the most technical strikers in the sport's history, regardless of division. He might have a soft chin and might have this and make dumb moves sometimes, but Overeem is still a very respectable name. Stipe was just a champion. People were talking about he's the heavyweight GOAT. Some people were saying he was the heavyweight GOAT, so you can't really say Stipe is a bad loss. And Cain Velasquez is Cain Velasquez. Tai Tuivasa isn't half the man any of those people are yet. And looking at his style, Tai Tuivasa really doesn't have that much boxing. He might supposed to say he has a boxing background, but he's so far has shown that forward movement, somewhat footwork, and just head hunting. He goes for the Hail Mary. He doesn't mix it up. He doesn't change levels. He doesn't go to the body, mix it to the head. No real fluidity to his striking. It's more so, he's very bouncy. At least he kind of chubby, has a fat frame. He got some spring to him, but it's not like he has any real finesse or technical intricacies about his striking. It's just head hunting. He'll go for your head. It's not like his power is that great either. You might think his power is that great, but it's not. Cyril Asker doesn't have the best chin, and he really had to shove Cyril Asker down. He hit him with a bunch of shots. Cyril Asker was still standing, and basically he just shoved Cyril Asker on the ground, and the ref stopped the fight. He didn't really even drop him. Andre Arlovski, he dropped Andre Arlovski. Andre Arlovski's chin's been gone for years. Matter of fact, been gone his whole life. And he dropped Andre Arlovski once, touched him clean several times, and couldn't drop any more times. So his power obviously isn't that great. So his boxing is not that great. His striking is not that great. He is fringy. He is young. He does have a chin on him. He does have some things about him. But like I said, it's like he's missing those key attributes. And one thing, he doesn't fight with a game plan. People that beat Dos Santos had a game plan. Cain Velasquez got him against the cage and stuff. Pressure against the cage. Stipe fought him the first time, kind of using the cane strategy. Then in the second fight, he used his own stuff he learned from fighting Junior Santos. Kind of got him to the cage, waited for him to throw that kind of hook that he throws against the cage. Then he timed it, and Overeem used angles and stuff and kind of upset his pattern. He drew off his pattern and then set him up for that. Tuivasa doesn't fight with a game plan. I think Junior Santos is still one of the better boxers in MMA. He'll mix it up to the jab, to the body, jab to the head, and he'll mix it up a lot of different ways. He got hooks to the body. He just mixes up like he has a lot of different things. His boxing offense is solid, but his boxing defense, that's where it's weak at. And Tuivasa not like he's going to have a game plan to take advantage of that. If he just moves straight forward. He doesn't cut you off. He just moves straight forward. And you're going to need more than just moving straight forward to beat Junior Santos. You're going to need to cut him off. And Tuivasa hasn't struck me somebody that's shown to make a game plan. I think Junior Santos will be able to box him to the body, jab him low, jab him high. Tuivasa coming forward so much and so aggressive, leave him open to that patented overhand right from Dos Santos. Probably get knocked out by Dos Santos unless he changes something up. As he is right now, he'll most likely get knocked out unless his chin's real good. I think Junior Santos will be able to box him up and just mix it up with him and just show him a whole new level that he's not ready for yet. And pretty much, it'll still probably be a hard-fought fight, but Tuivasa won't be able to find what he's searching for. He'll still have a chance. Anything can happen. He can land a big shot, but as far as just like a technical way or a smooth way of going about it, he won't find that. Junior Santos will just make it too hard for him, mix it up, piece him up, outbox him, outclass him on the feet with his striking. And then Tuivasa will be game. But I think on that third round, that overhand right is going to connect right on his chin after he gets broken. Also, another thing, Tuivasa's cardio hasn't looked impressive. He was gassing like in 2 minutes of a fight. Yes, he was going all in for the finish, but he still was gassing. It's not like his pace is that high. He can't hold a high pace. That's nothing. Junior Santos still has more heart than him. I think Junior Santos is going to connect on him eventually after breaking him down and outboxing him in the first 2 rounds, and then just pretty much drowning him and knocking him out in the third round. So in this fight, I got Junior Dos Santos via third round TKO. And that concludes my fight predictions for UFC Fight Night, Dos Santos versus Tuivasa. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.